Hi, it's Isaiah from the Inner Health Foundation. Welcome. I want to talk to you today about a man named Arnold Ehret. Practitioners that I study often mention him and make mention of his books because he's got incredible books. They're very simple, inexpensive books that you kind of see tucked away somewhere in a store or a random shelf in a used bookstore, but incredible information, really essential information. He's got a real hold on a lot of what is still essential and important in the process of attaining and maintaining exceptional health and vitality in the world today, even though he was putting this out in the early part of the century, like around the 20s and 30s. I think he died in the 30s. So he wrote several different books. One was Rational Fasting, another was The Mucusless Diet. He did one on health and fitness, and then there's probably many smaller pamphlet books. And I was recommended and reminded by a friend of his books and his work, and recently a concept that he applied in one of his books that was just it was so simple and really struck me as an important one to share. So I thought I'd bring it out, and again, I'll put a link at the bottom of the video here for Arnold Ehret and to check him out. So Arnold Ehret puts forth this health theory. It's really an equation to understand how to attain better health. It's very simple. It's V equals P minus O. V stands for vitality, life energy, right? Equals, so the amount of vitality we have equals the amount of pressure or power minus obstruction. So P represents the power or pressure, the ability of the body to circulate through the lymphatic and the blood system, nutrients and elements that we need for sustenance and health, gases, liquids, passing through all the different vessels and rivers of the body, right? So that pressure, that power of transmitting and moving things through the body is essential for our health, right? O represents obstruction, and obstruction could be heavy metals or toxins. It could be, food particles, plaque, biofilm, things that accumulate in us that start to they obstruct the flow of oxygen, of nutrients, of the body's ability to process and move through and function in a free way, right? The free flow is stopped or slowed down in some vessel or some tube or some part of the body, and we're suffering because of that. So, V equals P minus O. Remember that, check it out, think about it. It's so simple, but it's the foundation, and in so many ways, there's all these complex ideas and practices and health practices and diets out there that really are missing the mark. So the best diet in the world is one that creates very little obstruction. And for each one of us, it's different, right? What foods are we eating? What chemicals are we taking in? What things are we bringing into our body that are leaving a residue that the body can't process and clear? We all have to be aware of our process and our food choices in really specific ways to understand what's best for us. The best diet, one that's going to create the least amount of obstruction and leftover material, is something that's very individual. It's based upon your level of fitness, exercise level, hydration, how much fiber you get in your diet, your level of metabolism. All these different factors play a role into what foods are going to be best for you, what are in a sense going to be assimilable and utilized in a clean way, burn clean within you, versus leaving residue after. Think about all the different foods that are available to us, and as we take them in, do they create mucus? Do they create obstruction? Do they slow things down? Do they create inflammation? Those are the things we need to be asking as we take in foods, supplements, and expose ourselves to different environments, water sources, and so on, right? We need to be aware of when something is causing residue and inflammation and plaque, and we need to make a choice towards foods that don't do that. So we need to have a focus on diet that doesn't create obstruction. For me, I like animal foods, and I don't try to overdo it, but I definitely enjoy animal foods myself. So In order to balance that, I have to make sure that I have enough scrubbing, enough fibrous vegetables, enough fruits, enough hydration to balance that out, so that it's, I'm taking a lot of alkalizing foods and hydrating liquids and really essential nutrients in to help balance out the acids, the level of protein and fat that are involved in, that are coming from those animal foods. And if I can do that in a way that creates very little mucus or residue, then I can do it healthily, I think. And I feel good when I'm doing it that way. I know when I'm off balance, I'm having too much or too many dry foods like chips or, just like worthless, empty food with protein, or bread and protein, is going to be a terrible mix. It's going to ferment, it's going to cause toxification, it's going to definitely be a perfect recipe for creating plaque and an accumulation that the body can't truly process, and will end up stacking up inside of us. That's what we don't want. A concept also that's really important is what do foods do for us, right? There's three main things they do. There's what food gives us, the nutrients and the elements that it feeds to us. There's what food takes away from us, and then there's what food leaves behind. And the way in which I've always understood it, and what I focus on, I think is most important, is ultimately what is left behind. People say you are what you eat, which, to a certain extent, yes, we are. But if you take it a step further, you are what you assimilate, right? And if you take it a step further, you are what you don't assimilate. That's what's causing the roots of our disease and dysfunction, is the parts that we can't process, we can't assimilate, and the leftovers are dragging us down. That obstruction is causing us to malfunction, So the focus for me has really been on a level of food purity is more than just nutrient profile. It's about getting food that's as clean as I possibly can, so that I'm not bogged down by the obstruction of all those unseen, unrecognized chemicals, heavy metals, fertilizers, and elements, and hormones and antibiotics, elements that we can't even see, we don't recognize, but the body has to store and deal with and try to process and clean. And it's very difficult for the body to process and clean a lot of what's in today's products, especially highly concentrated foods like obviously meat, dairy, breads, highly processed chips, and things that are just highly processed, salted and sugared. The combination of salt, sugar, and fat is everywhere, and it laden. The food source is laden with that, and most of it's low quality, and it really gums up the body. So I also like to think of food as my medicine, have a medicinal relationship with it, and also let it be in a good emotional state. Really, it's a medicinal opportunity. It's really a healing opportunity to eat good food, and have a good relationship with it is essential. So I like to focus on really enjoying food on all levels, and making sure that I have the highest quality that I can, because it feeds me on all levels, and the relationship can be that much healthier. I eat food obviously for sustenance and survival, but I eat food based on a relationship that makes me feel good. I don't want to have to recover or repair myself all the time based on the foods I'm eating and the residue that's being left behind. I want food to be my medicine more than it's not. So I have flexibility in my diet. Sometimes I go to a restaurant. Maybe it's not medicinal, but then the next 5-6 meals that I have are medicinal, because the way they're prepared, the lack of residue that's in that food, the way I'm hydrating, my relationship with it is enjoyable and medicinal, and it's feeding me, it's feeding my vitality. So I think that it's essential to look to food as being medicine, treat it as such, and try to find the highest quality medicine that we can. And then there's an opportunity for food and eating to become more than just eating, more than just sustenance. It becomes an opportunity to really have spiritual nutrition. So, meditation would be an example of spiritual nutrition, but so is food. Food's this wonderful opportunity every day, many times a day, that we enjoy, and it can be a meditative process that feeds our vitality and feeds our well-being and balances our emotions, balances our psychological state, and really helps us to attain and enjoy a high quality of life, which is the whole point for me. I really think that the focus for me and for many people really should be on quality of life. I'm always amazed at like wealthy people, for example, that have low quality food. I just don't understand it. You have money, the opportunity to buy whatever you want. Why would you choose a low quality food? You know, there's so many fancy restaurants that are just, they're coming out of Cisco trucks, you know? It's like Costco. And these people can afford anything. Why would they not want the best, you know, hand-grown, artisan heirloom foods, ones that actually have good genetic profiles, that feed the cells of the body, that nourish us as medicine? I'll never really understand that. And I'm actually gonna, in the future, help promote that, because I really feel like to whatever level we can afford it, we should be putting a good chunk of our money towards high quality medicinal foods and enjoying it in the way that it's meant to be. I want to encourage you all to consider that. Check out Arnold Ehret's work. I'm really thankful for this simple concept and how it's showing up in my life, and I'm happy to share it with you. So blessings. I wish you all the best health, the least amount of obstruction, and extreme vitality. Much love to you all.